Friday, August 4th, 1944. Amsterdam. A warm, sunny summer day. From the outside, everything at Prinsengracht 263 looks exactly as it always does. An ordinary office building, storage rooms on the ground floor, offices on the first floor. Nobody walking past here would ever suspect that behind a movable bookshelf on the second floor, there is a hidden apartment. It is day 761. 761 days since 8 people disappeared here. Not died, not escaped, but disappeared. Right in the middle of the city, behind a music wall of books. Otto and Edith Frank, their daughters Margot and Anne, the Van Pels family, and Fritz Pfeffer. For 2 years, no sunlight during the day, no loud conversations, no toilet flushing while people were working downstairs, no footsteps when the warehouse was occupied. For 2 years, the constant music fear of exactly this one moment. 3 days earlier, on August 1st, Anne wrote her final diary entry, a completely ordinary entry. She had no idea it would be her last. Then, between 10:30 and 11 in the morning, a car music stops in front of the building. Men get out. Leading them is S.L.S. Sergeant Carl Joseph Silberbauer. Down in the warehouse, music they speak to a worker named Willem van Maren. He sends them, perhaps unknowingly, perhaps not, upstairs toward the offices. The employee Miep sits at her desk when the door is suddenly thrown open. Decades later, she will still remember that moment. A small man walking in, a revolver in his hand, pointed directly at her. The men continue. They know the way, as if they know exactly what they're looking for. They reach the room with the bookcase. From the outside, it is nothing more than a shelf, but the officers discover the hidden entrance. Upstairs in the annex, Otto Frank is helping Peter Van Pels with his homework. Suddenly, footsteps on the stairs. The door flies open. A man stands in front of him, a pistol aimed at his chest. Downstairs, everyone is already gathered. Edith, Margot, Anne, their hands raised. 8 people are taken away. Only one of them will survive the war. Before we get to the theories, there is one important fact that makes this entire story so complicated. There are no surviving official documents about the police raid of August 4th, 1944. No arrest report, no record of who gave the tip. Everything we know is based on later statements from survivors, interrogations after the war, and decades of research by journalists, investigators, and the Anne Frank house itself. Otto Frank was convinced it had been betrayal. In the fall of 1945, he began searching for the person responsible together with the helpers who had survived the war. Understandably so. During the occupation, countless people were handed over to the Nazis because of betrayal. But there was never any concrete proof, not then and not today. Over the decades, this created space for a whole series of theories. Some appear plausible, some were investigated extensively and later publicly rejected. Let's go through them. The most obvious suspect first, Willem van Maren. Van Maren worked in the warehouse on the ground floor, exactly where the police arrived first on August 4th. Even during the time in hiding, the people in the annex suspected him. There had been small thefts in the warehouse, and Van Maren asked the helpers strange questions. After the war, legal proceedings were even opened against him. The result? Inconclusive. There was no evidence. Otto Frank himself wrote in a letter in 1975 that the former warehouse worker could not be prosecuted due to a lack of proof. The theory music still exists today, but that is exactly what it remains, a theory without evidence. Theory number 2, Hans van Dyck. The other betrayal theory involves one of the darkest figures in the story. Hans van Dyck was Jewish herself. She was arrested while in hiding and then faced a horrifying choice: deportation or cooperation with the Nazis. She chose survival and handed over a frighteningly large number of Jewish people to the authorities. The journalist Seitze van der Zee connected her to the case, possibly through a night watchman who discovered a break-in at the building on Prinsengracht in 1944. Later, a book was even published directly accusing her. The problem? The book relies on memories written down decades later. Memories from third parties, not from eyewitnesses themselves. They cannot be verified. Another theory points to music Lena Hartog from the same building. A quieter but still serious lead. Lena Hartog's husband Lammert worked illegally in the same warehouse at Prinsengracht. There are indications that he may have spoken with his wife about music, the people hiding in the building. However, one crucial question remains unanswered. Did this conversation happen before or after the arrest, on August 4th? If it happened afterward, Lena Hartog could not have been the informant. Again, a lead, not proof. Theory number 4. Tony Ahlers, the blackmailer. This theory comes from Carol Ann Lee's biography of Otto Frank. Tony Ahlers had actually blackmailed Otto Frank before the arrest, after learning that Otto had made critical comments about Germany's chances in the war. Lee suspected that Ahlers may have learned about the hidden people through this connection, and later passed the information on to an SD investigator. This also could not be proven. There is evidence that the blackmail happened, but no indication that Ahlers actually knew about the annex. One of the simplest theories is also one of the hardest to investigate. Someone who remains unknown to this day simply called the security service and gave a tip. It sounds ordinary, but that is exactly what makes it so difficult to prove or disprove. An anonymous phone call leaves no file, no signature, no trace. It cannot be proven, but it also cannot be ruled out. Another theory, the cold case investigation in Arnold Vandenberg. And now to the theory that made headlines around the world in 2022. Starting in 2017, an international team led by retired FBI agent Vince Pankoke worked on a new investigation of the case using modern investigative methods, artificial intelligence, and 6 years of research. The results were published in the book The Betrayal of Anne Frank by Rosemary Sullivan. The claim, a Jewish notary named Arnold Vandenberg revealed the hiding place in order to save his own family from deportation. The basis for this was, among other things, an anonymous note that Otto Frank was supposedly given after the war. In the end, this remains a case that has not been solved for more than 80 years. No confession, no official file, music, no court verdict. Only traces, theories, and different people connected to the case who denied responsibility. Otto Frank never found the answer himself. He died in 1980 without ever knowing who, if anyone, had betrayed his wife, his 2 daughters, and his friends.